right, guys, we are recording now. So we are starting our first, it's just an introductory night to Without Rival by Lisa Bevere. It is a 6-week study. So after tonight, we'll have 6 weeks. It's really laid back. It's really easy. It's got some study questions behind each chapter. One of the things is I like about it when I started listening to it, because like we were talking about earlier, I have to listen to it. It's like so plain written. It's like you're in a conversation and you're just like, oh, okay. Kind of feel like you just had a conversation with your best friend kind of thing. So that's really awesome. But what it comes down to is, anybody ever heard that God loves us all equally? I think we have all been ingrained with that. I've never heard anything different. God loves all of his children and he loves them all equally. This whole book tears that up. And I'm like, what? How does that, how can you say that God doesn't love equally? And she goes and explains it very well. She goes in like, as a mother, so I have Olivia, and then when I had Elijah, you don't split your love in two. Your love multiplies. It grows. And you love them in very differently. Like at y'all's house, all of those little beings are different personalities. They have 6 girls. 6. All right, 7, 6.
Oh gosh. It's 7 including Rob.
Okay, yeah. So they 2 families just came together, and it's 2 big families come together in one big family. But every personality is different. So you can't love like each person equally the same, because it's not comparable. You really can't compare that. I cannot say that I love Olivia exactly how I love Elijah, but it's not any less. Does that make sense? So she talks about that. And without rival is actually one of the definitions to unique. I almost lost it. I was like, it's not equal. To unique. So God loves us all uniquely, not equally. And she starts breaking that down and what that looks like. As women, and this is one of the reasons I'm so glad you girls are with us. I would love to do the whole teams and have all of them here, because we are always in comparison with each other. Not even if it's ugly, not even the mean rivalry type situation. But we're always, that's the whole marketing thing. You have to have this lipstick or this color or this haircut or this car, or your kids have to be dressed this way, whatever. It doesn't matter, because there's a genre for every way that you're supposed to be, whatever. And we're always constantly comparing ourselves to something or somebody. Our society is created that way. And it feeds flesh and it feeds division. But we also like to think that I'm unique and we're lashing out or we're breaking the mold or whatever. But when we find out who God has created us to be, that's when we really tap into a real level of uniqueness that is solely one in itself. I actually got to thinking about this. Unique on that level can almost be scary. Like it's uncharted territory. But if you are walking in that uniqueness by the Creator who created you for that reason, are you not empowered? Have you ever felt that feeling of, you know what, I don't care. I'm going to wear this and I look stupid. And I don't care. Today is not the day. I just don't care. And you really mean it. You're not just being, a brat or emotional or whatever. I don't care, but you really do care. No, you really I really do not care. It does not care. It just does not matter. There's freedom in that, especially when you get older. Or Princessa was funny because I was introduced her to the mommy yoga pant. I'm like, yeah. I was like, embrace the yoga pants, girl. You just had a baby. That's your friend. You just yoga pants, right? And so we were talking about that, and she was like, I really wouldn't want to leave my house like this before, but now I really just don't care. There's freedom in that. When you take people's opinions and put them over there. But we're so deeply ingrained, we can do that on some of the big things. Some of us really don't care about appearances that much or makeup or things like that. But there are other things of, are we raising our children the way we're supposed to be raising our children? Are we even going to church? we're always in comparison mode. So what this study is going to do is look into how God loves us uniquely and how we are supposed to be unique. We're going to watch this clip, and some of you guys may have watched it already from my Facebook, and it should show up as the full. That's one thing I love about Zoom is that, first of all, it's free. Not free, but they can see my screen. So you guys, hold up just a second. Let me do this. And me and Angela tried it a while ago, so we should have enough, should be loud enough. And she's going, will you get the light for me in just a second? If you haven't watched this video with me, can you guys see that?
Culture right now is so inundated with comparison that so many people are feeling overwhelmed and like failures. Everybody is looking at everybody else to try to get ideas. Well, here's the idea that God has for you. God has created you uniquely, and unique means without rival. It means soul representative. It means prototype. And a lot of people think being unique is maybe having pink hair or the way they dress, but actually your uniqueness is really tied to something that nobody can see. I often travel and get to meet young girls, and so many of them will say, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with my life. I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what my calling is. And I often find myself saying to them, I believe that you don't know what you're called to do because you're actually called to do something nobody's ever done before. And you're looking around and you're comparing yourself to what you've known or what you've seen. And we need you to be your unique you. We need you to be your God-created you that has no rival. The reason I wrote this book, I wanted every young girl and every woman, regardless of her age, to understand that she is a daughter without rival.
All right, let's see. Angel, you can grab that light. Rachel was just texting me, talking about getting on. All right. So if you haven't heard Lisa Bevere, YouTube Lisa, because she is mighty. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I'm probably going to do either Lioness Rising or Girls with Swords next after this, because I just kind of want to put this out there. There's Millicent. Okay. With, let's see. Okay. And Rachel will probably click on in just a minute as well. Hey, Millicent.
Hey.
We're recording this. I'm just letting you know. And if you want to, you can cover your video, or you can go to the bottom. It says stop video on your side, and it'll just do like a blank. You'll be able to see me, and we won't be able to see you. Okay. And as well as if you need to mute, you should be able to do that at the bottom of the screen. You see that?
No.
Okay, it's like are you on an iPhone or a laptop?
I'm on my Android.
Okay.
Android.
It may be at the corner because sometimes apps are a little bit different.
It says recording up at the top.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I know where. I have to go in my privacy things to do mute.
Okay, I can.
You've muted you.
Me. I can mute you too, though. I just hit the wrong button. Yeah, let's see. Okay, but either way, you're fine. I'm just letting you know how you can, because this is recorded, so whatever's on your video or on your audio will be in the upload.
Gotcha.
Okay, and it's recorded too, so what you've missed already, you can go back and watch the first 10 minutes or so that we've been in here.
All right, thanks.
And tonight's just really, we're just kind of going over, what this is about and what without rival means, and how, what this Bible study is supposed to do. And what I was telling them was, right now, women in general are in a different place. In just my little 30-something years that I've been around, it seems like sometimes we're still ahead in the gender battle, and especially in the church, and in the way men see us in general, is that we don't have a power, we don't have a calling, a place, a reason to go out and proclaim the word, or just be that forceful woman of God, and like a friend of mine said, I guess I'm just supposed to stay home and make babies. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. And that's not belittling or demeaning. But if that's not your calling, I think that's wrong. And God still is wanting the women. He's needing the women. He needs women and men equally in different roles, in different ways. Our culture, I think, has tried to stifle us by comparison. Comparison is the thief of all joy. It steals all joy. So if you're constantly comparing yourself to your friend, or because some of us can look past magazines and stuff like that. We're like, okay, that's a magazine. They're airbrushed. But when you're sitting in, the nail salon, you're noticing who's coming in. We're constantly grading ourselves on the surroundings and the people around us. That is an insult to God. That's wrong. And what it is it just constantly keeps us off focus of what He's called us to do. Do you know what He's called you to do? Anybody here can say, I know what He's called me to do? That's awesome. Do you know specifically, or preach? You're ordained at this point. Mm-hmm. So you're walking that out. Is it easy? Yeah, I knew that answer. Exactly. But you have come to that place where you were starting to, okay, I know where I'm supposed to be. I'm going to start walking that way. If you constantly compare yourself, I have to do this with Pastor John. I constantly, in a way, naturally compare myself to him, because when I preach Sunday and he preaches next Sunday, how many people come to the altar? It's not about that, but it does, get in your head.
It's hard.
It's hard.
When I first started going to classes, I'm a girl who was not raised in church, wasn't raised in that environment, and I'm going to these classes where I have all these amazing women and men that have been in church, preachers' daughters, everything. They're just amazing, and I'm walking in there. I'm telling you, the first 4 months I was there, it was like the enemy constantly beating me up. You're not smart like that. You're not this like that. Constantly. I had to fight to get there every single time, and it just
fresh out the bar.
Yeah.
To seminary, basically. I can imagine where the enemy, even now, even after I've been preaching in the pulpit for a couple years now, I still hear it. Do you know who you are? And it's not God saying, do you know who you are? It's the enemy saying, do you know who you are? Look at these people. Oh, you remember that one, you and you know what I mean? And all these little remembering moments of my past. And if you do not keep your mind saturated in the word, then you will start believing that you're not worthy, that you're not capable or equipped. Millicent and I go to the school of ministry, and it's kind of similar situation, because I'm like, these people have been doing this a whole lot longer than me. I'm literally, I think I am the youngest one there, or close to it. And it's overwhelming at times, because I'm just like, I can't be here. This isn't for me. But I also remember when I first started working on the ambulance, and I had the same feeling. It's not just ministry. It's every single aspect of your life. I remember when I first had Olivia, and I was like, how could they send me home with a child? I'm totally not equipped. I remember when the nurse walked in and said, okay, we're going to discharge you guys. Get your stuff together. Get the baby seat and everything. And I was like, oh my God, they're going to send me home with a baby. And I'm an EMT at this point. What's the worst thing that could happen? Not to mention fully equipped and capable, raising my brothers and sisters and all that kind of stuff. But it's just all of a sudden the enemy trying to steal my joy. And in my mind, I started comparing myself to all these other moms that I didn't look anything like. And I didn't have it all together. And I wasn't married. And I didn't have these things, you know. And it just immediately, and if you stop and think back all the way to your childhood, let's say to puberty childhood. Because puberty is when it really starts digging in deep. How many times did you get distracted? Yeah, none of us could really probably count, truthfully. And just disheartened because you were not what someone else was. Or you were not what you thought someone else thought you should be. It steals. It totally steals from you. Our marriage, my first marriage to Heath, was so rooted in this, to the point that I was either being compared to his mother, or him and I were comparing each other to exes. Because, and that's one of the things when, and I'm just going to throw this in there because I'm working on a series for my teens. I'll get a little sneak peek. But that's one of the things when you break that level of purity, the enemy gets to run in and keep you rampant. I think all of us has got that t-shirt, you know, in our mind of, you know, you think of this boyfriend and this guy and this thing, and you start comparing or you think of his girlfriends that you knew that he had. Or do I look like that? Or I always had this thing, because Heath always had, I don't know why I'm going off on this, but Heath had this thing, all his girlfriends had big butts. All have big butts. I have a very flat bottom. We actually joke that I'm a backward spoon, that my butt goes inward instead of outward. And I hate it, obviously. But for years, Heath would walk in and say, oh, them jeans look good on you. I'm like, no, they did on so-and-so. And he's like, why would you say her name? Like, why would you do that? And then I would get mad, and he would get mad. But in my mind, I was constantly comparing myself to her and his previous girlfriends. It wasn't his fault. That's not his fault. What's up between here and here is mine. And so those things, I think, partly is what this study is going to help reveal in us, and then help us purge it out. But also, we're going to actually get to see ourselves in the way that he created us. How many times, just like beauty flaws, Olivia hated her freckles. When she started getting freckles, I remember she was like 5. She puts blue eyeshadow. She comes in with like this streak of blue eyeshadow. Blue. I'm like, what are you doing? I hate my freckles and hide them. I'm like, well, you might need some concealer, not some blue eyeshadow, because that's horrible. And, you know, I tell her, I scoop her, I was like, you know, they're angel kisses, because that's what we've always said. And they're angel kisses, and they're uniquely for you, and God gave you those, and some people want those, and, you know, all this kind of stuff. But she hated them. And she hated them to the point that it affected her attitude when she left the house. Like we saw at 5 years old that she had began her outward appearance and how she felt like none of her friends had freckles. None of them. Then you got to the age where all of her friends were stick skin. And her attitude would change when she went out. I think we've all dealt with that at some point. It is the society that we were raised in. But God is saying, stop. He's not here to beat you about it. He's here to show you why that's not important. And it goes from physical appearance to mental capability. How many times you felt like you're the stupidest one in the room?
All the time.
Yes, exactly. Or, you know, that you should have been so much better. Or you get the parent comparison. Well, brother did this, or sister did this, so you're going to do this, or you did whatever. Anyways, you start comparing, you know, all the way through. And if you look at the level, I mean, just think tonight when you go home, when you get off the computer, just stop for a minute and think about, ask God to reveal to you sometimes where you have been stole from by comparison. It sucks. And then it kind of makes you mad. Like, dude, really? Because you're over it. But when you're in the middle of it, this is what fuels people to keeping up with the Joneses, that to killing yourself for money, to killing your family, to be Pinterest perfect, you know, all these type of things. And we see it more and more and more every day. But we have to be able to say, okay, Lord, I want what you want for me. I remember saying something when I was a kid about something along the lines of, I hated myself. I hated the way I look. I was very awkward. My body was very awkward. They told me I was a 2x4. I was just a long, stick, skinny nothing. I had nothing. I thought I was fat. I thought I was huge just huge. But I was just tall and skinny. And I was like a foot taller than every guy until like 8th grade. So I stuck out. Like, it was like, here's the rest of the class. Because there was Rachel, a whole head high above everybody in the classroom. So you always had to get in the back of the pictures and everything else, you know. And it started then of, I just wanted to hide. I wanted to bring myself down to fit in. Well, my personality was as big as my body. So I found ways to start either bringing my personality down to the cool level or changing who I was so that I would fit in. And I got to thinking, a friend of mine a couple of years ago, she goes to church here some, she said, what if we had healthy, godly childhoods? And I was like, oh, everything would have been so different. I don't know. I don't even know how to start with that idea, but we were talking about how we raise our children versus how we were raised. And I thought about that comparison, the body image issues, the personality quirks that I felt like I needed to stifle down because they were an embarrassment and they weren't going to be healthy and they weren't going to be cool or whatever. What if we were taught to embrace that? What if we were taught to love our own quirks and love the quirks in other people? What would be invented? What cool thing, what atmosphere change would happen? Because who has fun in a room full of robots when everybody's dressed the same and everybody looks the same? Because guess what? If every single one of us come in here with the coolest clothes, exact same, whatever, I don't even know. Y'all know because I don't know the hot stuff. Shay's our guru up here. She could tell us like, oh, you need some of this. My sister, she could tell you. She done talked about some shoes the other day, and I was like, I don't even know what that means. I thought she was cussing at me in another language. She was saying something about some shoes. What are the shoes with red bottoms? Is it Louboutins? Okay, she said Louboutins. Something. But she was saying that she said like 3 names, like 3 different designers. I had no clue what she was talking about at all. But she knows this stuff. If we all walked into the 9s, do you know we would still be sitting here comparing ourselves? Oh, well, that looked better on her than it does on me. And then what happens is when you can't change you and you can't change her, you start tearing that person down. Or you start tearing yourself down. I don't even know why I came today. I don't even know why I tried. And it just starts breaking you down. But guess what? None of that edifies God. None of that builds up while you're here on this earth. So what happens, you're 50 years old or you're 25 years old or you're 35 years old, whatever, and you're like, why am I here? Because this is what you've been doing for the past 10 years. Because that's all high school really is anymore. They're just pushing it. Focus on how you fit in and who's wearing what and who's dating who and all this kind of stuff. Not, dude, you've got talent. You have a cool personality. You're an awesome person. I like her because she's different. Like it said in that video, some people think being unique is like pink hair or a really cool tattoo. But that's not really being unique. Unique is actually embracing who God created you to be. So, without rival, I want you guys to think of it because we're going to talk about this next week. I'm going to get you guys the books. For you that have joined us on, our books have not come in. I think it was the snowstorm that has got shipping mixed up, but I'm praying they'll be in here tomorrow. But I'm going to do a screen share again. And this is Christian audio. Let's see. Right here. This is what I have on my phone. It's free for 30 days. And that I'll listen to the book. I have the app on my phone. It's great. It's awesome. You do have to put, a debit card or a credit card or whatever in, and it will charge it after 30 days. But you're able to listen to this book completely free. You just, cancel before the 30 days up and it's completely free. But we'll have our book. So if you don't have it in time or if you need a couple weeks or whatever, you can go ahead and be listening to it. And she is the one that is reading it, which I like that because it's not some weird dude that says, Lisa Bevere. It's actually her, and she's animated, and she wrote the book, so she's like making the emphasis where I love it. It's really, really good. So that, and you can listen to it anywhere you go. You can put it on all your devices so you can keep picking it up. I listen to it when I'm going to bed and different times. So there, I wanted to share that with you guys because it is a great resource, and it's immediate. That's one of the good things. As a matter of fact, the first chapter is 30 minutes, like 38 minutes, I think, and that's even with the title reading and stuff. But I want you to think about what a rival. I'm going to get really tongue-tied in the midst of this. A rival is. We have rivals. When I was growing up, Reasonable and Glenville were rivals in sports. We didn't have one high school. We had two high schools. So they were rivals. Claxton has always been a rival of Reedsville, playing ball and stuff. Southeast Bullitt was our number one rival when I played softball. And we hated them. And the crazy thing is, it's like when you think about it when you grow up, it's like, why? They were just a bunch of teenagers playing ball too. But you have these rivals. But what are rivals in your life? Now, maybe it's not a person. It could be a person. It may still be a person. We still have people who, make us cringe, but it's typically something that is divisive or something that is aggressive or negative in your life. Something that's trying to compare and steal you away, something that you are in competition with. So think about those things, because as you go into the book, I'm going to be praying that God just opens that up to us, that we're going to see these things that we need to deal with. But as well as when and there's some questions at the end of each chapter, and you'll go through that. We'll have a DVD every week. They'll have a little clip. We'll go over the chapter that we read. So we're going to try for everybody to have the first chapter read by Sunday, and then we'll just go into the session. All right, sound good? And these will be, I'll put everybody in a Facebook page because I'll upload these every week to the Facebook. I actually probably put it on my YouTube and then put it on there so you can share it however you want with anybody. But I like to put it in a group so that, you can tag a friend or send a message or whatever if it's something. And the videos for you guys that won't be here, just like I screen shared the two clips that we have, or the clip and the Christian audio, you'll see it the same way. So you'll see the DVD just like we were sitting here. So you're not going to miss anything if you're in another state or wherever. So you guys got any questions? Anything? You excited? Mm-hmm. I'm not really excited. I'm so disappointed that the books aren't here. Like, it really just made me mad. Because I wanted, I like the book. I like to feel the book, even though I listened to the audio, which is great. But the actual, I'll show them. This is the book. And it looks fairly big, but it's really not that bad. And at the back of each chapter are discussion questions. And I mean, if you're going to take the time to come every Sunday night and read those questions, I am so just overwhelmed that you take the opportunity and the time to come out of your schedule. And because this is for you, y'all aren't coming for me. Y'all aren't coming to make me happy. And if nobody would have showed up, because I've done this before, it would have just been me and the computer, and we would have just had a Bible study. You can look on my YouTube channel and have some of those. But you are wanting change, and you are wanting something different, and God's going to reward that. And you knew, because He's already calling you on this. That's how I felt about this book. It kept popping up in ads because I followed John and Lisa Bevere. And they kept, when it come out in August this year, and they kept popping up, and I was like, man, there's something about that. I had no clue what it was about. I didn't hear a trailer or anything. I just kept seeing pictures of it. And I was like, man, I got to look at that. And my friend Linda Durrance did it at her church in St. Simon's. And she started posting clips like, you take a picture of the page and put it out there, and she would put some notes to it and stuff. And every single one of them spoke to me. And I was just like, we got to do that. So that's where this comes from. I'm doing it partly because selfish reasons, because if I'll lead a Bible study, then I'll make myself read it. That's kind of how that works. But I believe this in every bit of my heart and every bit of my being, that we're at a transition time. And God wants to use us. Every single one of us. I don't care how old you are, how young you are. It is a time for us to get busy about the kingdom. And it's not just boring church work. It's God work, and that's exciting. That crap is fun. That stuff is amazing. I don't know if y'all seen the clip I shared of Beth Moore about this morning or like yesterday, I can't remember, when she gave the woman the money, and she was like, this is fun. I'm like, yes, that's what I'm talking about. When you know, if it's a word, if it's 25 cents, if it's, I prayed for you today, and this is what I woke up praying for you, and they just like, that's exactly what I was going through, and you had no clue. When you encounter that kind of stuff, it's like you're tapped into a supernatural level that has worth and value, and this other crap don't matter. And it just gets exciting because you're being the hands and feet of Jesus, and that's awesome. And all this other stuff we worry about kind of fades away, but I'm excited. I don't know if I can or not. So, all right, well, it is, top the lines. It's a little bit later than I thought it was going to be. So, which we did get a later start for the record. So, I'm going to end our recording. All right, hold on.